Hello everyone, it's Adriana Ashcloud and welcome back or welcome to my channel. Halloween is coming around and today we're diving into, in my opinion, one of the most nostalgic, fun, and spooky annual events in Star Stable, the Halloween event. If you started playing around Halloween time many years ago like I did, this event likely holds a very special place in your heart. This is also one of the few events that has remained in Star Stable, as many events have been discontinued, like the Valentine's Day event and the Midsummer event. We're going to take a look at how it all began, how it evolved, and take a trip down memory lane while also looking at our now existing Halloween event. Starting off, the Halloween event in Star Stable is a seasonal event that happens every year during October and around early November. The first ever Halloween event in Star Stable was celebrated way back in 2012. In this first celebration, the event included a quest where players had to help the ghosts of Mr. and Mrs. Hill to reunite by their grave nearby Apple Grove. By completing the quest, you got a saddle as a thank you. This quest actually stayed in the game and is now something that every player will get after achieving a certain level and is no longer a seasonal quest. The year after, in the 2013 event, which was also repeated for 2014, the event expanded a little. We got a ghost hunt, which centered around searching for 21 different ghosts around Jorvik. The quest was about helping the ghosts get home, and upon finishing the quest, the player would get a reward for each ghost helped. This year, in 2013, we also got the pumpkin hunt, which is in the basement of Silverglade Castle, hosted by the NPC Eve, where the objective is to find all the 80 pumpkins in the castle's cellar. And finally, apple bobbing, which was a bucket of apples that could be found in several locations around Jorvik, and the player could get one reward a day from each of them. All of the Halloween activities were time limited and were removed once the event was over, which is now something that we see for basically all events. So in those early years, the building blocks of the Halloween event was exploring Jorvik, looking for ghosts, different kinds of hunts, and limited store items. The shops at this point sold Halloween items like clothing and tack, and in this clip you can see what the shop looked like and some of the outfits that were selling. What I love about this time is that the event wasn't really huge yet, so wasn't the game either, but it had that something extra in the world feeling. You logged in, you noticed a change in Jorvik, and you did a few spooky quests, earned reward items, and it felt special. Personally, for me, this is super nostalgic. As I mentioned, this was the time that I joined Star Stable, so I just love looking back at this because this was actually my first impression ever of Star Stable was during this Halloween event. Moving along all the way to 2015, which gave us further additions. For the Halloween event in 2015, you had a special quest with Rob and Bob to be able to access a ghost train in Silverglade Castle, and some items were added to the shop, which typically continues every year, but this was the year the Halloween store started to grow seriously. Just a quick side note, most of you probably know of the Halloween masks sold during the Halloween event in the store named Masks Galore. Well, when the Halloween event in Star Stable first came about, there were about 7 masks in total, but now in 2025, there is a total of 66 different Halloween masks. Isn't that just crazy? I didn't even think there were enough NPCs in this game to cover that many. That only counts the Halloween masks. There are other masks as well for like other NPCs and stuff, like for example Easter has some masks. I just think that's crazy. It's crazy to think about, like 7 versus 66, like wow. Anyways, going back on track, the year after 2015, which would be 2016, was a special year because this is the first time we ever saw the character slash event of Galloper Thompson, or at least his appearance during the Halloween event. Because this year we still couldn't go to his keep, but the player could encounter Galloper Thompson somewhere in Jorvik every full hour between 18 and 2 o'clock and receive a reward. The year after, in the Halloween of 2017, the magic power mechanic was introduced. This powder could be used on your Jorvik Warmblood to give it a Halloween-themed appearance for 16 minutes. This was first obtained from a mini quest with the Pumpkin Lady, which the player had to help find her horses in exchange for some magic powder. We also got new quests with Eve's twin sister, Faye, which was about helping Faye obtain costume material and that the green ghost had been sabotaging her costume material. To this point, the ghost hunt was still in the game, but apple bobbing was unfortunately no longer available this year. Also note that Galloper Thompson was not featured in the 2017 Halloween event, but it's around here the event starts to feel bigger and more talk-worthy among players because next year would be a major shift for the Halloween event as we all knew it. The year of 2018 is when things really ramped up for the Halloween event in Starstable. In 2018, the Halloween event introduced a new area called Galloper's Keep, which is accessible during Halloween. Starstable had previously not really done anything like this before, so this was a huge thing when it came to the Halloween event. The Galloper's Keep is a dark and Halloween themed set of small islands floating in the sky with no apparent ground underneath. It is kind of like its own world, and it is completely surrounded by darkness. There is a large main island connecting the smaller islands. Within the middle of this island is a large cauldron. Galloper Thompson and his horse can usually be seen watching over the tower of the top floor when this area was released. Northeast of the main island, there is a small stable where the player can purchase the Halloween magical horses and pets. There are multiple other small islands actually. There is the island with the portal back to Jorvik, the island with the Tower of Regrets and the pumpkin collecting minigame portal, and another island that is accessible from the main tower with areas to sit down. The Galloper's Keep released new quests and races in a compact area so players would not have to travel all around Jorvik to complete quests. 2018 is also when Soul Shard hunting begins, and a new magic horse matching Galloper Thompson's horse color is released. At this point, the previous Halloween quests were also removed this year, but the shops remained mostly intact but was moved into the keep. So basically what they did this year is that they removed all the Halloween events from the world of Jorvik, if that makes sense, and they put it inside this one area, which I guess is still in Jorvik, but it's not in our normal day-to-day map. The year later, which was the year of 2019, built on this initial 2018 update, and the player could replay the previous year's activities. In 2019, the pumpkin hunt was also introduced, where the player can collect golden pumpkins for rewards, including a running pet, Spooky Sprout. And finally, this year's new magic horses was Pepita and Wood Ear, which joined the Halloween stable in the keep. Moving on to 2020, and at this point the event still takes place in Galloper's Keep, and a new island is released with the Tower of Regrets. The Soul Shard mechanic also shifted. Instead of old puzzles, you have vortexes, appearing at set locations hourly, which throw around little lost soul shards to collect. This year, which was 2020, also released a new magic horse, the Tomb Hoof. In this period, we can see big changes from the old event. At this point, there is a dedicated event zone or world and much larger quest lines than what the old Halloween quests contained. There's also a lot more complex activities like timed shard hunts and vortex mechanics. Starstable also jumped at the opportunity to sell the event more, as there has been a huge increase in the amount of purchasable items like cosmetics and magic horses / pets. So we are getting closer to the point in time that we are today, but there was still a little way to go from 2021. In 2021, the event added even more new magical horses, this time being Song Sorrow and Duskrim. While bringing back previous years' horses, the pumpkin hunt changes in that the golden pumpkins were removed and replaced by soul shards as currency. In 2021, the Haunted Trail Ride also returned with objects collectible for either Jorvik shillings or trading for a pet Nightwing Raven. The questline involves a player plus NPC Linda exploring Galloper Thompson's history and memories. Into 2022, we can see further change. This year was the change of currency, where autumn tokens were released, which was the last year's soul shards. This is similar to the type of tokens Starstable would typically use in their events like winter tokens or summer tokens. In 2022, the magical horses Laverna and Neemane were added, and we got the Cauldron feature. The Cauldron feature is where players find and throw items into a cauldron for rewards. We also got 2 pets this year, which was Savage Squash and Pestilent Pumpkin, and another pet Raven. Not to mention that this year, Ghost Quests returned during the last week of the event. Then eventually 2023 rolled around, and this would be the year that we saw our feedback drive change into the event. Not necessarily the biggest change, but it was something, I guess. Before this, you had to keep unlocking the Galloper's Keep portal for every event, but after the players complained, the portal became available from start and no quest had to be done to get in. Finally, moving into this year's Halloween event, which I won't go that much into detail on because it's literally here right now, there are a lot of stuff to do, including the different additions to the game. So to name a few, in this year's Halloween update, you can brew mixtures and cast spells, pumpkin hunting in the Golden Leaf Forest, and run the Haunted Trail. There are also a handful of new outfits, and not to mention hairstyles and makeup, which are actually here to stay, not just for the event. The outfits this year are partially inspired by the magic horses released this year, which is Big Spite and Goletaire. I don't know why, but the name Big Spite just reminds me of Bixit, you know, like the cookie Bixit. There's also a antique store, which I feel like I've seen this before, but maybe it's just my mind playing games. But Starstable announced this as if it's something new, but I feel like I've seen this. Anyways, this is where you can buy old Halloween items for a reduced price, but that doesn't mean that they're going away. Starstable stated that they're here to stay, or at least for now they are, but the reduced price is just because they are old. Looking ahead, it seems likely that the event will continue to refine and give us less grind and better access to more narrative, and perhaps bring back fan favorite quests from early years for nostalgia. At least I hope so. If I were to place a bet, I would say expect more from Galloper's lore, because Galloper Thompson has became a person that slowly made his way into actual Starstable lore and not just the Halloween lore. We also learned more about him the past few years, and the game seems interested in sharing his lore with us, so I think that eventually we'll have something to say for the story. I think also we will probably get more interactive zone features like the Haunted Trail expanding, or maybe seasonal crossovers. I know that there's also a debate of whether or not you prefer the old Halloween or the new one, and I completely understand both sides, but I just want to give my opinion on that. So the new Halloween event is a lot more interactive and complex, and definitely more fantasy like, if you get what I mean, which some people like. But I personally kind of miss the simplicity in the old event. I think the reason that Starstable has continued with the Halloween event and not the other events I mentioned earlier is because of marketability. If you take a quick look, Halloween is a very marketable holiday slash event, much more so than Valentine's or Midsummer. So, you know, Starstable has released at least 1 or 2 new magic courses almost every year for a while now during the Halloween event. They are also heavy on making new cosmetics and clothes, which leads me to believe that they are trying to milk this event as much as possible, especially now that they are literally parting Halloween up into several updates and releasing more content than they ever have for Halloween. Don't get me wrong though, I love that Starstable Online puts in effort to the event. I'm just sharing what I think the motivation for this is. I know that a lot of people also are really nostalgic about the Halloween event. I've seen it on TikTok, you know, YouTube, whatever, and I completely agree because, like, as I have said now probably 100 times, I joined the game when it was Halloween time, probably like 2014, 2013, and I was really young at the time, but I remember so well like the Halloween stuff and like the Halloween leggings I really wanted, and that's just like a great memory for me. Honestly, I think that when the Gallopers Keep update first came, I was not a fan of it. Like, I really didn't like it. It felt way too like imaginary for me, but then at the same time, if you think about it, Starstable is pretty imaginary. Like, Starstable is a fantasy game, literally. So I think I kind of like got over that, but now like I like playing the Halloween event. Though I wish that we would get more quests that were like based in the actual world of Jorvik, like not just in Gallopers Keep, but I wish we would have more like in the world quests, which I think is so, because I think it's so fun, but I think that probably won't happen because the Gallopers Keep is made for a reason. It's to keep the Halloween quests within an area, so I'm not really sure if that will happen, but yeah. So there we have it. From helping 2 ghosts in 2012 to wandering the Tower of Regrets in Gallopers Keep. With cauldrons, we got vortexes, soul shards, and magical horses. The Halloween event in Starstable has just grown enormously. It's crazy. It's more than just cosmetics. It has been world-building lore, atmosphere, and if you watched the video all the way here, thank you so much. If you have a favorite Halloween moment, which horse you got, what quest you love, what bug you hated, whatever, I'd love to hear it in the comments. And tell me when you joined Starstable and what that was like for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, etc. And I'll see you in the next one. Happy Halloween!